Good morning. Welcome to Northern Beaches Alliance Church online service. It's so wonderful to have you join us this morning. I hope that you and your families are well. So we're going to start now with a time of praise and worship.
I feel it in my bones, you're about to move. I feel it in the wind, you're about to ride in. You said that you would pour your spirit out. You said that you would fall in sons and daughters. So come. My bones, you're about to move. I feel it in the wind, you're about to ride in. You said that you would pour your spirit out. You said that you would fall in sons and daughters. So like the rain, come drench us in love, and let your glory rush in like a flood. That if we ask, we'll receive. So we are asking for the greater measure. So like the rain, come drench us in love, and let your power rush in like a flood. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness, see your glory. Come and blow on through, Jesus. So come and blow on through. Spirit, move. We're ready for you to come and blow on through, and come and do what only you can do. So come and blow on through. Spirit, move. We're ready for you to come and blow on through, and come and do what only you can do. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness, unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. Oh, 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 you split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. 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 I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. Of the Father, it's going deep today. Hey. Oh, the love of the Father. Can you see his smiling face? Hey. Oh, the love of the Father is going deep today. Oh, the love of the Father. Can you see his smiling face? It's going deep today. It's going deep right now. Take off your heavy burdens. God is here to say, oh, the love of the Father. Yeah. Oh, the love of the Father. Yeah. Oh, the love of the Father.
Today I want to talk briefly about the significance of another very unusual events that occurred at Pentecost. After Jesus returned to heaven in Acts chapter 2 of the Bible, it says that suddenly a sound like a blowing of a violent wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where the disciples were sitting. They saw what seemed to be tongues of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit enabled them. This is of course the moment where God sends from heaven the gift of the Holy Spirit to the disciples. And as I've been talking about for the last several weeks, what comes with this gift of the Holy Spirit is God's empowerment. Probably one of the most extraordinary and unusual things for the disciples in this event, both from their own experience in this moment and also from how they understood God's ways of working, was this sight of what looked like tongues of fire coming and resting on each of their heads. And then all of them being filled with the Holy Spirit. But why was this so unusual? Because in their knowledge of the history of how God worked, God mostly only empowered one person amongst his people to speak and represent him at any one time. And here, every single person in the room of what probably is 120 people is given this gift of empowerment. Not one person in the room is considered unsuitable, unqualified, or unacceptable. Everyone who was there received the infilling of the Holy Spirit and the gift of empowerment. It seems like the only thing that was required was that they turn up, be together with everyone else, and have a prayerful expectation that God was going to do something. God indiscriminately gives his spirit and empowerment to everyone that turned up. I want you to think for a moment, what does that say about God? Just to remind you of the context, Jesus, the Son of God, comes from heaven to earth to reveal to a very brutal and confused world what God is really like. Jesus returns to heaven, but the Holy Spirit is then sent to earth so that everything that Jesus revealed will remain with people forever. So what does this moment, this unusual event, reveal about God? In his indiscriminate giving of the Holy Spirit, he places value on every person. Unlike the world where we often value people by how they perform or their usefulness to us, God sees people differently. God views every person as valuable, and therefore in his kingdom the gift of empowerment is distributed to every person who comes to God with a willingness and desire to receive it. You may not be familiar with hearing this word value when talking about the Bible, but when you think about it, the concept of value runs all the way through the Bible. The word that the Bible uses mostly to communicate this idea of value is the word love. But when you use the word love, like so many other words we throw around so casually, they lose their clear meaning and become trite. So for just a moment, I want to substitute the word love with the word value. Let me read out a few verses in the Bible from 1 John chapter 3. This is how we know what value is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need, but has no pity on them, how can the value of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not value with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. Dear children, let us not value with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. One of the things that we see from this verse from the Bible is that the revealing of true value goes beyond our words. Although our words can be affirming and encouraging, hopefully, what is true is that what is revealed in our actions. Our words are insufficient to communicate value. Our actions must be involved. And they say, talk is cheap. Just saying something doesn't cost us much. True value, love, is revealed in our visible actions. Jesus dying for the sins of the whole world was a visible action that revealed the value of all people in the world. The visible action of tongues of fire resting on the heads of every person and infilling of the Holy Spirit into every person at Pentecost was a visible action that communicated God's value for each person. For many of us, from the circumstance of our life, we carry around within us a devaluing of our own sense of self. The actions of others have communicated that we are of little value or perhaps no value at all. For all of us, our identity has been at least partly shaped by this devaluing. Each time we don't meet the standards of value of those in our world who we seek to please or receive affirmation from, our soul takes another hit. We try to rise above our sense of unworthiness with pride, self-justification, or even people-pleasing. But in these things, the lack of our own sense of value becomes all the more obvious. But God values unconditionally. He attaches no conditions or prerequisites to the value He has placed on us. He gives value to people indiscriminately. So here's the challenge for us. Do we tend to value others by their usefulness to us? Do we value people by how they might enhance our world or how they perform? Do we look for certain conditions to be met, certain hoops for them to jump through before we are willing to place value on them? Or are we willing to be as unconditional and indiscriminate as God is in our valuing of others? The greatest commandment God gave was that we should love Him with our whole lives and that we should love our neighbour as ourselves. In other words, value others with the same value that God has valued us. As I finish, one thought had occurred to me that there may be some people listening right now who I know. I may even know some things about you. I might even know some of the thoughts you have about yourself, the things that you think that devalues you. I am also sure that there are some people listening right now that I don't know. I don't know what you think about yourself or some of the deep beliefs that you hold about yourself. But regardless of whether I know you or not, or how much I know about you or I don't know about you, what I do know is the very fact that because you are living right now means that God has placed immeasurable value on your life. And because God values you, He's willing to give you the gift of the Holy Spirit. Literally, God coming and making His home inside you. All you need to do is to surrender. Surrender to the desire to experience God's love, God's value more than anything else. And if you do this, God will come and fill you with His Spirit and empower you to live a different life. I'm so glad that you took the time to connect today. I hope you're enjoying both the worship and the messages we're bringing every week. Be blessed. I hope you have a great week.
Oh, we make room for you. We wanna see you move. We make room for you. Here we make room for you, 'cause all that you do is good. We make room for you. So Spirit, come, fill this place. We surrender to your ways. Lord, we make room for you. We wanna see you move. We make room for you. Here we make room for you. 'Cause all that you do is good. We We love you, Holy Spirit, come. You are worthy, holy, holy Spirit of truth. We love you. You are worthy, holy, holy, with nothing to lose. We love you. You're so worthy, God. You are worthy, holy, holy Spirit of truth. We love you. You are worthy, holy, holy, with nothing to lose. We love you. Spirit come, Spirit come, fill this place. We surrender to your ways. Spirit come, fill this place. We surrender to your ways. You are worthy, holy, holy Spirit of truth. We love you. You are worthy, holy, holy, with nothing to lose. We love you. You are worthy, God. You are worthy, holy, holy, with nothing to lose. We love you. You are worthy. You are worthy, holy, holy Spirit of truth. We love you. Spirit come, Spirit come, fill this place. We surrender to your ways. Spirit come, fill this place. We surrender to your ways. Lord, we make room for you. We wanna see you move. We make